cancel that dinner we were gonna have.
How come?
Because it says right here, soul food is one of the big causes of hypertension.
Good Times wasn't just groundbreaking television. It was a revolutionary mirror reflecting the real struggles of working-class black families in 1970s America. From actual Chicago housing project residents who influenced storylines to improvised catchphrases that became cultural phenomena to real social workers who consulted on family crisis episodes, these 20 shocking facts will forever change how you see the Evans family's struggles and triumphs. Get ready to discover the amazing true stories behind every memorable scene and the incredible lengths this show went to authentically portray life in America's forgotten communities. Fact 1. The apartment set was modeled after real Cabrini Green units. The cramped Evans family apartment wasn't a Hollywood fantasy. It was an exact replica of actual Cabrini Green housing project units measured and recreated by production designers who spent weeks studying the notorious Chicago complex. Set decorators interviewed real residents to understand how families maximized limited space, leading to authentic details like beds, doubling as seating, and kitchen tables serving multiple functions. The peeling wallpaper, worn furniture, and cramped quarters reflected genuine living conditions that thousands of Chicago families experienced daily. Even the view from the windows was carefully researched, showing actual sightlines from specific floors of the housing projects to create an authentic sense of place and environment. Fact 2. Jimmy Walker's "Dynamite" was never in the original scripts. The explosive catchphrase that made J.J. Evans a cultural icon was Walker's spontaneous creation during early rehearsals, never appearing in any written script. Walker developed the expression while performing stand-up comedy in New York clubs, using it to punctuate particularly successful jokes. During the pilot episode filming, Walker spontaneously delivered "Dynamite" after a punchline, causing the studio audience to erupt with such enthusiasm that producers immediately recognized its potential. The writers initially resisted incorporating the catchphrase, fearing it would overshadow serious storylines about poverty and family struggle. However, audience reaction was so overwhelmingly positive that "Dynamite" became JJ's signature, eventually overshadowing Walker's dramatic acting abilities. Fact 3. Esther Roll demanded authentic welfare office scenes. When storylines required Florida Evans to visit welfare offices, Esther Roll insisted the scenes be filmed in actual Chicago social services locations with real caseworkers as background actors. Roll believed that sanitized Hollywood sets couldn't capture the dehumanizing experience of navigating bureaucratic systems that many viewers faced daily. Production crews set up equipment in genuine welfare offices, capturing the authentic atmosphere of long waits, crowded conditions, and overwhelmed staff. Real social workers consulted on dialogue to ensure accuracy in depicting the complex eligibility requirements and documentation demands. These scenes became some of television's most realistic portrayals of poverty assistance programs, with social work schools later using clips for educational purposes. Fact 4. The James Sr. death episode featured real grief counselors. The devastating two-part episode dealing with James Evans Sr.'s sudden death incorporated consultation from professional grief counselors and child psychologists. To authentically portray family bereavement, mental health specialists worked with the cast to understand realistic grief stages, ensuring each family member's response reflected genuine psychological patterns. Esther Roll drew from her own experiences with family loss, while child actors received counseling support to separate their personal emotions from their characters' mourning. The episodes avoided Hollywood sentimentality in favor of raw, authentic emotional responses that resonated with viewers who had experienced similar losses. Grief counselors praised the show's realistic depiction of family mourning, noting how different family members process loss differently. Fact 5. Thelma's dance scenes required professional choreography training. Bernadette Stanis underwent intensive dance training with professional choreographers to authentically portray Thelma's artistic aspirations and natural rhythm. The training included various dance styles popular in 1970s black communities, from soul to disco to traditional African-American folk dances. Choreographers ensured Thelma's movements reflected genuine teenage enthusiasm, rather than polished professional technique, maintaining character authenticity. During episodes featuring family celebrations or school performances, Stanis performed actual choreographed routines rather than fake dancing. Her dance training extended beyond mere movement to include understanding dance as cultural expression and artistic ambition-making. Thelma's dreams feel genuinely attainable and personally meaningful to young viewers with similar aspirations. Fact 6. The rent strike episodes used real housing rights activists. When the Evans family organizes a rent strike against their negligent landlord, the storylines incorporated consultation from actual housing rights activists and tenant organization leaders. Real Chicago housing advocates provided information about legitimate strike strategies, tenant rights, and landlord-tenant law that informed the episode's legal accuracy. Activists explained how rent strikes actually function, from organizing tenants to withholding payments, to negotiating with property owners and city officials. The episodes featured realistic consequences and complications, rather than simple Hollywood resolution showing both the potential power and genuine risks of tenant organizing. Housing rights organizations praised the show for accurately depicting grassroots organizing, while highlighting the courage required for low-income tenants to challenge powerful landlords. Fact 7. John Amos construction worker scenes featured real job site experience. To authentically portray James Evans Sr.'s work experiences, John Amos spent time with actual construction workers in Chicago, learning proper tool handling safety procedures and the physical demands of manual labor. Amos worked alongside real construction crews to understand the pride, frustration, and economic uncertainty that characterized blue-collar employment in 1970s America. The show depicted realistic workplace hazards, irregular employment, and the physical toll of manual labor that many working-class fathers experienced. Construction scenes featured authentic equipment, proper safety gear, and realistic work environments, rather than sanitized Hollywood versions. Amos's portrayal captured both the dignity of honest work and the economic anxiety of job insecurity that defined many working-class families' experiences. Fact 8. The Michael's militant phase episodes consulted Black Panthers. When young Michael Evans becomes interested in Black nationalism and militant politics, the storylines incorporated consultation from former Black Panther Party members and civil rights activists. Political consultants ensured Michael's evolving consciousness reflected genuine teenage political awakening, rather than stereotypical radical caricatures. The episodes explored realistic tensions between generational approaches to racial justice, showing conflicts between James Sr.'s integrationist beliefs and Michael's more militant perspectives. Former activists provided authentic dialogue and realistic political education scenarios that informed Michael's character development. The show avoided both dismissing youthful radicalism and uncritically endorsing militant positions, instead presenting complex political discussions that reflected real debates within Black communities during the civil rights era. Fact 9. Florida's cooking scenes use traditional soul food recipes. Esther Roll insisted on cooking actual soul food during kitchen scenes, refusing fake television food in favor of authentic recipes passed down through her own family. Roll prepared genuine meals using traditional cooking methods and ingredients, creating authentic aromas that enhanced other actors' performances. The production budget included costs for real food ingredients, allowing Roll to demonstrate actual cooking techniques rather than merely pretending to prepare meals. Between takes, cast and crew would eat the food Roll prepared, creating genuine family atmosphere during filming. Food historians and cultural preservationists later noted that the show provided authentic documentation of traditional African American cooking methods and recipes that were disappearing from mainstream media representation. Fact 10. The Christmas Without Money episode featured real charity workers. The heartbreaking Christmas episode, where the family struggles to provide holiday gifts, incorporated consultation from actual charity workers and social service providers familiar with holiday poverty assistance. Charity organizations provided information about how families in crisis actually navigate holiday seasons, from seeking assistance to maintaining dignity while accepting help. The episode avoided both excessive sentimentality and unrealistic resolution, instead showing realistic community support and family resilience. Real charity workers appeared as background actors in scenes depicting holiday assistance programs, lending authenticity to the family's experience seeking help. Social workers praised the episode for accurately depicting both the need for charity assistance and the complex emotions families experience when accepting help during financially difficult times. Fact 11. JJ's art scenes used actual Chicago artists as consultants. J.J. Evans' artistic talents were developed through consultation with real Chicago artists who provided authentic information about pursuing art careers from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. Professional artists taught Jimmy Walker basic drawing and painting techniques to make his artistic activities appear genuine rather than performed. The show depicted realistic challenges facing young artists, including lack of supplies limited training opportunities, and family pressure to pursue more economically practical careers. Art scenes featured authentic supplies techniques and artistic struggles rather than Hollywood fantasies of instant artistic success. Chicago art educators praised the show for accurately depicting both artistic passion and the practical obstacles that economically disadvantaged young people face when pursuing creative careers. Fact 12. The Penny's Abuse episodes. Consulted Child Protection Services. When neighbor Penny Gordon Woods reveals her home abuse situation, the storylines incorporated extensive consultation with Child Protective Services workers and trauma specialists. Professional social workers provided information about realistic child abuse indicators, reporting procedures, and intervention strategies that informed the episode's accuracy. The show avoided sensationalizing child abuse while still addressing its serious impact on children and families. Real child protection workers consulted on dialogue and situations to ensure realistic portrayals of both abuse recognition and intervention processes. Mental health professionals worked with young actress Janet Jackson to ensure her performance reflected authentic trauma responses without causing personal, psychological harm to the child actor herself. Fact 13. The unemployment line scenes were filmed at actual offices. Scenes depicting James Evans Sr. seeking unemployment benefits were filmed at real Chicago unemployment offices with actual unemployed workers as background actors. The production gained permission to film during regular business hours, capturing authentic atmosphere of crowded waiting rooms, bureaucratic procedures, and the emotional stress of job searching. Real unemployment counselors appeared in scenes providing authentic dialogue about job placement services and benefit eligibility. The scenes depicted realistic waiting times, paperwork requirements, and the dignity-challenging aspects of seeking government assistance. Employment counselors later praised the show for accurately portraying both the necessity of unemployment services and the psychological impact of job loss on working-class family breadwinners. Fact 14. Willona's fashion scenes reflected real 70s Chicago-style Janet Dubois' Willona Woods character showcased authentic 1970s Chicago fashion through consultation with real stylists and fashion historians familiar with African-American urban-style trends. Costume designers studied actual Chicago street fashion, beauty salons, and fashion magazines popular in Black communities to ensure Willona's style reflected genuine cultural trends. The character's flamboyant outfits and hairstyles weren't Hollywood exaggerations, but authentic representations of 1970s Black urban fashion sensibilities. Fashion historians later noted that Willona's style provided accurate documentation of African-American fashion trends that were often ignored by mainstream media. Beauty professionals consulted on hairstyles and makeup to ensure authentic representation of Black beauty culture during the decade. Fact 15. The Ghetto Loan Shark episodes used real financial crime research. When storylines addressed predatory lending and neighborhood loan sharks, the show consulted with financial crime investigators and community advocates familiar with exploitative lending practices in low-income communities. Law enforcement professionals provided information about how loan sharks actually operate, from recruitment tactics to collection methods to community impact. The episodes depicted realistic consequences of desperate families turning to illegal lending, including escalating debt cycles and threat of violence. Financial literacy advocates praised the show for accurately portraying predatory lending dangers while showing realistic alternatives like credit unions and legitimate financial counseling. The storylines provided educational content about financial exploitation that particularly targeted economically vulnerable communities. Fact 16. The Neighborhood Gang episodes consulted former gang members. When addressing youth gang involvement in Chicago housing projects, the show incorporated consultation from former gang members and youth workers familiar with gang recruitment and intervention strategies. Former gang members provided authentic information about how gangs actually operate, recruit young people, and impact family dynamics. The episodes avoided both romanticizing gang culture and dismissing its appeal to economically disadvantaged youth seeking belonging and protection. Youth intervention specialists consulted on realistic prevention and intervention approaches that families and communities could actually implement. The storylines provided educational content about gang dynamics while showing realistic family strategies for protecting young people from gang involvement. Fact 17. Florida's job search scenes featured real employment challenges. Esther Roll's portrayal of Florida Evans seeking employment incorporated research into actual job search challenges facing Black women in 1970s America, including discrimination, limited opportunities, and skills training needs. Employment counselors provided information about realistic job placement services training programs and workplace discrimination that informed Florida's employment storylines. The scenes depicted authentic interview processes, skills assessment, and the psychological impact of repeated rejection due to both economic factors and racial discrimination. Workplace advocacy organizations praised the show for accurately portraying employment barriers facing African American women while showing realistic persistence and skill development strategies. The storylines provided both entertainment and practical information about navigating discriminatory employment practices. Fact 18. The roach infestation episodes used real pest control expertise. The memorable episodes dealing with the family's apartment pest problems incorporated consultation from actual pest control professionals and public health experts familiar with housing project sanitation challenges. Pest control specialists provided information about realistic infestation patterns, tenant rights regarding pest control, and health impacts of poor housing maintenance. The episodes depicted authentic pest control challenges in multi-unit housing, including landlord responsibilities, tenant options, and health department intervention procedures. Public health advocates praised the show for accurately portraying housing quality issues that disproportionately affected low-income families, while providing educational information about tenant rights and health protection strategies. Fact 19. The College Dreams episodes consulted real educational counselors. When storylines addressed family members' educational aspirations, the show incorporated consultation from actual college counselors and financial aid specialists familiar with higher education challenges facing low-income students. Educational professionals provided information about realistic college preparation, financial aid processes, and family financial planning for higher education. The episodes depicted authentic obstacles, including academic preparation gaps, financial aid complexity, and family economic pressures that often prevented capable students from pursuing higher education. Educational advocates praised the show for accurately portraying both educational dreams and systemic barriers while providing realistic information about college access and financial aid resources available to economically disadvantaged families. Fact 20. The series finale incorporated real community farewell traditions. The emotional series finale episode incorporated consultation from community organizers and cultural historians familiar with African American farewell traditions and community resilience practices. Cultural specialists provided information about how families actually navigate major life transitions, community support systems, and maintaining connections despite geographical separation. The episode depicted authentic community farewell practices from neighborhood gatherings to promise-keeping traditions that reflected genuine African American cultural practices. Community advocates praised the finale for accurately portraying both the pain of leaving familiar communities and the strength of cultural bonds that transcend geographical boundaries, providing realistic hope for family continuity despite economic displacement. 20 incredible secrets that prove good times wasn't just television. It was a powerful documentary of real American life disguised as family comedy. Which fact moved you most? Share your thoughts about how this groundbreaking show influenced your perspective on family and community. If you're hungry for more shocking secrets from classic TV that changed America, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell. Which legendary series should we investigate next? The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, or another groundbreaking show?